Alright everyone, this is my quick and dirty review of the Monoprice Select Mini 3D printer. Let me just start off by saying that this is a fantastic little printer. I work with FDM and PolyJet machines for the last 10 years or so with my full-time job, and have generally watched the market on these small hobby type machines, but have stayed out of it until recently. I've been looking at these for a little while. This one came up. It's had great reviews. It's the second version of it, so it seems like they fixed a few of the quirks that were kind of complained about in some of the first version reviews. And at $200, I figured you couldn't go wrong. Alright, taking a little closer look at the display here, you can see it's broken up into three parts. It's a nice little color display controlled by a thumb wheel, right, left, and push into click. First you have print. That's where you select your G-code. Monitor, if you go in there, we can see the extruder temperature, the platform temperature. You can tell it to preheat. You can set your extruder and platform temperature by selecting and rotating the dial. And obviously start and stop preheat. If you go back out to the main menu, move, you can move the extruder, push the filament in and out, move the Z-axis up and down, or home axes, and that'll go and actually find its limit switches and touch off on each of them. Obviously, the biggest negative that I found on this printer so far is the size of it. It's a less than 5" by 5" square base and about 5" vertical height that you can do with it. So that is a little limiting, but for the price point, you really can't go wrong. This printer is pretty much ready to go out of the box. A little bit of setup time, some calibration, bed leveling. But in general, within, say, a half hour, 45 minutes of unboxing it, we were up and printing. And that's pretty remarkable, especially at this price point. Some of the other printers you look at, they'll be like the A8 and those sort of things. Yeah, they'll give you a much larger build volume, but you're going to spend days, if not, weeks getting it up and running, set up, calibrated, upgrading parts, that sort of thing. Whereas this, you really just... It was fantastic how quick this was able to be set up and start printing. Alright, let's go ahead and start a print job. First off, we'll go ahead and home our axes so everything touches off on its 0 points and sets itself up. And then we'll go into the print menu. We're going to select this GoPro mount that I've been meaning to try out. We'll go ahead and bump up the temps. Alright, so while this is printing, it's probably a good time to talk about materials, the machine, a few other things. The machine comes with PLA material. That's really what a lot of these smaller machines or entry-level machines are designed for, which works great. I started off with a roll of this Hatchbox. Make sure you buy a full spool of material. If you buy one of these machines, the material that's supplied with it for a starter really isn't enough to do much of anything. One of the first prints we did was the Benchy. This is kind of a go-to test part to really try out a lot of printers, and it did really well. Used pretty much the settings that it had right out of the box. Stole some of the G-code parameters from the sample part that was in there, and ran this, and it came out great. So pretty much hit the ground running right there. After that, it was right before Christmas, so we started printing a little bit of like trinkets and ornaments and that sort of thing. So we picked up a roll of red, this Repco brand PLA. This was a little bit more than $10 a roll cheaper than the Hatchbox was. So I was curious to see how a different filament would perform, and it did great. I would highly recommend that if you're looking for a little bit more cost-effective material. Use that for anything and everything. I've been working on a DeWalt battery clip, so this is one of the first parts I printed. Test part using support with the pretty much the default settings in Cura to do this overhang here, and it actually came out really well. I was really impressed. Some of the higher end machines I use a different type of soluble support material or breakaway support, and I wasn't sure how this was going to work using just one material, and it actually worked really well. I was really surprised there. Like I said, we bought this not too long before Christmas, so one of the things we were doing was trying to experiment with some Christmas crafts. One of the first things we did was this snowman ornament, the model from Thingiverse, the user's desktop makes. Did this with that red Repco PLA. Came out really good. I actually wasn't expecting it to really come out that well at all, so when I printed it, we had a pretty coarse layer resolution, so we used some high build primer on it, and then came back and painted it with Tester's model paint, and came out pretty good. So all in all, been pretty impressed with this little machine. It definitely has quirks and glitches. It is, of course, a $200 printer from China, so take everything with a grain of salt. There's definitely been a few users that have reported problems with them. Not sure if that's operator error or actual hardware failures. Especially with these entry-level machines, it's really hard to tell where to draw the line there. That's it in a nutshell. I've done probably 20 or so prints. Probably got 60 hours or so on the machine. So still experimenting with it, still learning some things. We'll definitely be doing some upgrades with it. As we come across things we have trouble with or upgrades on the machine, I'll try to do an update video. At that point, feel free to put any questions you have in the comments, and thanks for watching.